All right, so we're here with M Lee Hasenauer, who's a candidate for Laramie County Commission, a Republican candidate. Welcome, M Lee. Good to have you here.
So glad to be here and glad you're putting on this forum for all the candidates. You guys do great work here and we're glad to be here.
Thanks. I'm Brian Martin. I'm the managing editor here at the Tribune Eagle.
I'm Sharon Fang with Black Hills Energy.
Bob Feck, Cheyenne Animal Shelter.
Right.
Well, again, welcome. First of all, Emily, what specific issues or concerns caused you to run for the county commission this year?
I think the hallmark of this campaign is to represent Laramie County residents, mom and pop businesses, veterans, and be looking at the fiscal conservative values that I bring to the table. We're facing an economic downturn in Wyoming, and it's going to take some very big challenges to not cut so much of government that we can't service the people in Laramie County like we've done in the past. A presidential year, we're seeing not 350 people go to our caucuses, but 750, close to 800 people. People are concerned what's happening in our nation, in our state, and it's affecting our local governments. And I think you're going to want to elect fiscal conservatives to every office.
What qualifications do you bring to the table that will help you serve as a commissioner?
I am honest, friendly, and approachable. That is an asset when you're county commissioner and you are holding meetings. An example would be if we're overcrowded at a meeting, I would go back in the offices and get chairs so they could sit down. When it comes to public service, when the public works was too busy to clean out some culverts for a road, I put my work clothes on and went out and cleaned them out myself. So when you're a paid public servant, you be ready to put 100% effort into this job, and that's what you're going to get with M Lee. I am a high school graduate, made the honor roll. I will bring back to local government what I think's been missing, and that is a master's degree in common sense. So friendly, honest, and approachable, and a practical grassroots business owner for 28 years. Know the line by line, how to balance a budget, and know how to make things work. Not just on the computer, but in the field and hands-on experience. Thank you.
And Emily, you also have experience as a previous commissioner.
That is correct. Thank you for reminding me of that. I love serving Laramie County for 2 years. It is the constituents that said, wow, run again in a presidential year and we'll support you. I could not go anywhere for several months that people said, we encourage you to run again. So thank you very much. That takes a lot of effort and attention when you are a commissioner. Many people in politics have told me it's one of the toughest jobs out there.
Emily, what do you believe is the biggest challenge facing Laramie County? And once you identify the biggest challenge, what are 2 or 3 others?
I think these cuts that will be coming that I warned us about in 2013 and 2014 about the pay raises for employees. I'm always been for a 1 point or 1.5 cost of living raise. That wasn't what we were voting on. It was a 2 to a 3 sliding scale. We had went from monthly to bi-weekly pay. They were giving them a 2% bonus in that budget session. I warned them, if we have an economic downturn or we were not sure about the Affordable Care Act increasing cost, that this would have an effect. And you're starting to hear that through the states. Hiring freezes, possible layoffs. These causes real grief for the county commissioners. That's the #1 issue. The EPA war on coal is causing all this. I believe that all 23 counties should come together in a strong support and use that one document, the Constitution, to do an amendment to not fund these regulations, any state money going toward them. And all 23 counties through the Wyoming County Commissioners Association could send strong support for that bill to defund the EPA regulations on coal. Second would be the impact and growth always through oil industries are county roads. 1,500 miles of roads, the funding, as you see in YDOT, they had a 5-year plan. There's cuts going to be taken back for our local projects here in Laramie County. Also, solution to county roads is always try to get material to our roads. I talked to a road grader up in Albin. He says that we need material. So we need to learn how or work out a solution with Public Works, how to get stockpiling more high quality material so we can get it to our roads. Those are top two.
Sir, I've asked for and not been able to see yet a copy of the proposed budget for this upcoming year. Have you been granted access? Have you had access to that yet?
I had not, and that's the advantage of a county commissioner. You have this book that's got 15 departments and you get a look at this budget, you know, line by line and item by item. I think we're better off in Laramie County than some counties, but still, I'm looking down the road, if elected the next 2 to 3 years, if the downturn continues, the budget's going to be really something that's going to be, a fiscal conservative is going to be up at night and on his knees praying that we do the right thing in Laramie County.
M Lee, can you describe your vision for Laramie County?
2020, just kidding. The vision for Laramie County is to grow, but protect our Western heritage. And the vision is to make it more of a friendly county government toward mom and pop businesses, reducing regulations. Government's not the answer, it's a problem. Reducing what government's input is sometimes to hinder growth and hinder our businesses from keeping more of their money. And I'm a big proponent of Reaganomics. and bad economic times. You need to not raise taxes, you need to lower them.
What do you think the area needs that it doesn't have, and how would you make that happen as a commissioner?
I think for a long-term vision, this county has looked at putting the fair out to Archer. That's what Archer was bought for. The way it can happen is we have about 200 acres we need out there in a 600 total acre parcel. Sell off some of that land. We have a real estate agent out there trying to sell it. If we ever was to get the first one sold, a Mavericks gas station, not a truck stop to compete against private sector across the highway there, Sapp Brothers, but the first business would trigger other businesses to buy out there. That money would be for the Archer Complex Event Center. Graduations now are done sometimes outside in Laramie County. It would be nice to have that event center to hold them graduations inside. I want to work on that and make that happen. I'm not a proponent of putting everything on the backs of the taxpayers on tax projects. I think as a commissioner, our job is not to be a cheerleader and promote different projects on tax items, but we as commissioners and fiscal conservatives need to get 2 bids on everything we do and get that up and running so the taxpayers get more bang for their buck when these projects need to be completed.
What are your priorities for economic development, Emily, and what's the commission's role in that issue?
I think working with leads and the business council, getting businesses to come here to Laramie County to help diversify our economy and get businesses that fit in our community.
What kind of businesses do you think fit best here?
Well, I think anytime you're talking about something like Magpul, which is Second Amendment rights, to not, what they did to them in Colorado to bring them here. But you're going to watch a commissioner that makes sure every T is crossed and every I is dotted before I'm going to vote for it. Magpul tried to move locations, and I said, I will vote against it until you go back to the state and tell them you've moved and get this all organized so the county's not at risk rolling out the red carpet. If this company was to leave, we're stuck with the rocks that's under the car, the carpet. So doing it the right way, making businesses come here that fit here, I think Bass Pro, Cabela's, companies like that would be great out at Orchard, and we would encourage and work with Leeds to try to help us find those companies to move out to Orchard.
I'd like to follow up on the economic development question. Sometimes one of the tools that economic developers use, specifically Cheyenne Leeds and the Business Council, are incentives to bring those industries here. How do you feel about utilizing financial incentives, providing land to some of the groups to be able to bring those businesses here?
Well, then you're talking about Leeds being the landlord. Government's not supposed to be the landlord, but that's the role of Leeds. Chamber of Commerce, I should have mentioned earlier, they're a big player in bringing businesses here too. But Leeds plays that middle person. They're the ones that's going to take the money until it's all paid off and we get the money back to the county. Government's not supposed to be the landlord, but that's the role of Leeds, and that's how that works.
Emily, you talked about being a fiscal conservative, but what are your priorities for the county budget and for savings? How should the county be spending its money, and how much should it be saving for the future?
And now I knew we had a great accountant, Bob Cook, and we had a great lady, Debbie Lathrop. Those are big shoes to fill, making sure we have those people in there to run those numbers and make sure that we're always coming up with a balanced budget. I think sometimes in bad economic times, the toughest thing to do is tell a department, we've got to cut 8%. Every department that comes to you, now my department, we're barely making it. Those are the tough decisions that a fiscal conservative has to make, and be fair across the board and not let one be hit harder than the other.
To follow up on that, can you talk about things that would be a priority for spending for the county? Are there things that are essential that you think need more funding? You mentioned the roads already. The library's spending down its reserve funds or things like that. Where would you allocate the money?
You have got to separate the needs versus the wants. Needs would be roads, infrastructure, public safety, sheriff department, first responders, fire. Then you go to an example of wants would be some of these multi-million dollar tax projects. They're probably not going to get the funding. But again, tax projects are brought up on 6 penny so that the people can decide them, not the county commissioners. So if they decide to pass them, then it's our job to get them built as efficient as we can.
Nice transition into the question about 6 penny projects. The ballot's obviously coming up next May. What are your personal priorities? What would you like to see on that 6 penny ballot?
I personally never promote higher taxes. 5th penny, a lot of people say we're for and no more. That can't exist nowadays. 5th penny tax is utilized for roads, library, health. It's allocated funds. You can't touch that. So I'm probably more in the 5 and no more. I'd like to see our taxpayers get a break. I'm in Reagan economics. We seen the first year that I was running for county commissioner, 6 penny exhausted. We had a 3-month period of relaxation of 6 penny, and 5th penny took effect. More car sales, more truck sales, more trailer sales. We actually produced more income for the county in those 3 months than we had seen in 2 to 3 years. So these projects are up to the will of the people to pass. We'll get them built if that is what they pass.
Any priorities for you? Christensen Road?
Well, you would be very close to having state statue on the Archer project and the fair. We're supposed to provide a fair for the county. Those county fair board members are tremendous. They not only are on that board, their kids are in it. They're putting their own finances through private sector to join that amount that they've raised so that event center can be, built. I like what they've done. They hired firms to trim it down. 2010, it was 20 grand. I believe, or 2012, it was voted down. They've trimmed this down to just the basic building and do it in different priorities later on, add to it if they need to. But, I've always been a big proponent of putting the money out there. We're saving money from having to move that fair right after Frontier Days and spend that amount of money, quickly get it set up to provide a fair for Laramie County residents. Orchard is not clear out in the middle of nowhere. It's right on the edge of the eastern city. Some of that's already been annexed right across the interstate. We have our own water. We have our own sewer system out there. It can handle a lot more buildings and a lot more stuff going out to Archer. That's what it was bought for. That's the future. I think it's in the middle of Laramie County. It makes a lot of sense for the voters to really take a hard look and pass that as one of their priorities.
M Lee, how do you balance the needs of the rural parts of the county with the city of Cheyenne's priorities and needs?
It goes back to leads in the business council, and I've stated this many times. It's one thing to say you're for business here in Cheyenne, but Burns, Alvin, Pine Bluff, they all need our assistance and help too, to try to get those communities not to go away and become ghost towns, but energize them with some sort of business that works in their direction too. Smaller communities are a priority, and working with them along with our Cheyenne community. I often say, you have to remind people, Cheyenne is in Laramie County. We don't just represent outside, the city limits. We work with city officials and take into consideration that this is part of Laramie County.
How do you maintain that good working relationship with the Cheyenne City Council, and how important would that be to you as a commissioner?
Very important. Friendly, honest, get to know the councilman. I don't think there's not a time that I don't reach out to them on different issues, even if it's trying to stop more regulations that are in play in Cheyenne that I believe needs to be there. We try to articulate our arguments when we're on their podiums to speak, bringing people in through town hall meetings, educating them people how to address an official so that they're come across, like I said, their points are being taken and considered on the decisions that are being made at the city and the county levels.
How do you feel about attracting amenities for families and young professionals? How important is that to you, and how would you go about doing that?
Well, I don't know. Some of these questions would be probably on each project that comes to us. That some of these are not quick answers. You better go home and talk to your constituents and see which projects they think would be better for our community. Sleep on it and pray on it and get the right companies to come here for our youth. We don't want to lose our youth to another state. If they're going to go to college and get a degree, we want them to have the jobs here in Laramie County, that they can stay home with their families and work right here and keep us moving in a positive direction.
Do you think the commission plays a big role in that, in keeping young people here?
I think they could and should.
So the rec center's been on the ballot a couple of times and not failed, but that's an amenity that a lot of young people kind of think maybe we should still have. So that may come up again. What do you think about a rec center?
I think it should be done through the private sector. If they can make it work and it not cost us a monthly bill, and really that's a city issue. but the county voters vote on it. We would get access to it and use it. That's why they put it on the county ballot. But when something's been voted down by the will of the people, we may have to take a look at it and say, let's work on some projects that have a chance to pass versus repeating the same old thing on many signs being out, many people promoting it, but the will of the people is always priority to me and representing that will. And that will has been no to the rec center, if not twice, close to 3 times.
Any other questions from the board? Emily, that's our questions. What else would you like to share with us that we may not have asked you today?
I love this community, and I am a foster parent. And over the last 8 years, we've taken in over 15 kids. 3 of them been baptized in Jesus' name, and they've moved on to be productive citizens. Our community is a close-knit community. I plan on representing the will of the people. Pastel colors, conservatism on display, open door policies, protect our First Amendment rights. If you have a grievance with the county commissioner, I have an open door policy. You shouldn't have to sign a piece of paper. If you're the boss, you're the taxpayer and the voters, you come talk to me and I will work hard to get your positions in front of the board so we can make an articulated decision on helping anybody throughout our community, whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Please call the candidates, 640-4248. I'm a guy that is friendly, honest, and approachable, and I love something that both of us can talk back and forth, and we learn together by communicating. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for being here.